In the most holiest day of the Hebrew nation, the day of Yom HaKippurim, the day that the most holiest person from the Jewish nation is going inside to the main important point in the temple, the holy place, the holy of the holy place, we are reading a very interesting book from the prophets, the one that is called Jonah. It's a very interesting story, and it's a very unique story, since this is a story of the debate, inside debate that the prophet have within himself and against or with God. Usually we see the prophets and they have all sorts of missions. God is asking them to do things and they are doing it. But Jonah, as we will see, and it's very simple, you can read it also by yourself, Jonah is all the time against. He doesn't want to accept. God is asking him to do things and he is trying to run away. And the main question that we have when we're starting to read this Jonah book is, why was he with a big unwilling wish to fulfill his mission? And this is something that it's not written down in Jonah, but we will try to understand from what we hear or what we see from this story. The first thing that we're starting with, when we're starting with Jonah, is where God is saying to him, the Lord God said to Jonah, the son of Amittai. Maybe we will go inside to this a bit later on, but he was the son that Eliyahu brought him alive after he died. So Eliyahu was the prophet, the most, I will say, true prophet that we know, and Jonah was his son, since he renewed his life from the beginning. So God spoke with him and said to him, "Arise, go to Nineveh." Nineveh was a very big city in those days, but the capital of the Ashur kingdom, and there were a lot of people there, 120,000 people approximately. But in those days it was very big, very important place. And he said to him, "Go to this place, to this Nineveh place, and tell them that they need to do a big repentance. They need to withdraw back from their bad behavior. If they won't do it, God is going to do to them like he did to Sodom and Gomorrah, some sort of a hurricane or something like that, that will destroy the town from the beginning." Now, in very interesting answer, Jonah, instead of going and fulfilling what God asked him to do, Jonah, in the third sentence that we're reading in this book, that Jonah took himself and wanted to run away, flew to Tarshish, to another place. And he wanted to run away from God. And we're asking ourselves, is it possible to run away from God? But Jonah said to himself, yes, I'm going to do it. He went to Jaffa, to one of the cities that is sitting on the shore, and he found a boat that went away. Now, we will see in the continuance of this story that God have a lot of, I will say, things that can fulfill his mission. And God will find other ways to push him to do the mission that he needs to do, that God asked him, obeyed him to do. And we still are staying with one of the most hard questions of this book. Why is this prophet Jonah was unwilling to fulfill his mission? Why? What happened? What was so bad in his mission? God asked him to speak with the Nineveh people, the Nineveh side, the Nineveh city, so people will withdraw back from the bad behavior and will start behaving normally, like the Torah is asking us to do. So why he didn't want to do his mission. So as we already said, God who created this universe and all of this, I will say, everything that's inside this universe, and he is responsible for everything, he has a lot of things that can fulfill his mission. And if Jonah doesn't want to go, and he went, for example, on a boat, so the next thing that the God will do, he will ask from, I will say, from the wind, okay, into the sea, that will do a very big, mighty tempest. And the ship was really threatened to be broken down. I don't know when was the last time that you went on a boat, but it's going up and down, and your stomach is doing also the same thing, going up and down. And this is when the water is calm. But when the water is doing a very big, problems, and the wind is hard, and there is a mighty tempest in the sea, so you can't fall asleep, for example. And all the salesmen and the captain, everybody prayed to their gods, to their false god. But Jonah went to sleep. And this is one of the hard sentences, I will say, that we can read in the Bible, where the captain approached Jonah and said to him, "Why do you sleep? Get up." I think this is a sentence. It's not by coincidence that we are reading this story in the most holy day, since most of the people in this world, or a lot of people in this world, they are living in this world, but they are not awake. To be awakened, to start to think what you're doing with yourself. Don't stay asleep. Even though you're waking up and you're doing things in life, the question is, what is your purpose in life? What are you going to do in your life? What are you going to put inside your life? How your life are going to be? And to be awakened in this life, it's not something so simple. And the captain of the world is asking each one and one of us every morning, wake up. Wake up. Why do you sleep? Get up. Call to your God. Start doing with yourself something more important. So Jonah didn't answer him. And they did something very weird, because they said to themselves, let's put all sorts of, let's try to understand from what exactly this happened, this thing to us, because they saw that only their, I will say, boat was in this big mess, but all of the other boats in the area didn't happen to them anything. And they asked him, who are you, from where you are, where you're going, from where you're running? What happened here? He answered them like that. I'm a Hebrew man. And as a Hebrew man who is worshipping God who created everything, we have no permission to do any craftsmanship or wisdom that is harming, or in acknowledge, we have permitted to use any of those things to harm anybody else. Therefore, you don't need to be afraid of me. But he told them, it is because of me, this storm that we are inside, and please, I want to die. Throw me to the water, and that's it. This is what Jonah told him. They were a bit more normal people who didn't want to kill someone because he said to them, I want to die. So they tried to go back to the shore. It didn't happen. It didn't manage. They put him inside the water a little bit. The water came down. They pushed him back. Again, a big storm. And they played with this a few times. And then they prayed to God and said to him, God, we don't want to kill him, but you're giving us no other choice. And they threw him to the water. and the storm came down, and they decided to themselves that they will, from now on, they will worship also God. And this is where we're finishing with the story of the boat. And God didn't want that Jonah will die. Therefore, he organized something new, organized that Jonah will stay in this whale for a few days. He wanted Jonah to pray for him, to ask forgiveness, to accept his mission. But Jonah felt comfortable. So God moved him to another whale where it was a female whale, where was a lot of small whales inside. And then Jonah gave a very big, I will say, prey from the belly of the fish, from the belly of the whale. I won't go inside to all of this pray. You can look it inside the Bible. The main issue is that when someone is in a deep, I will say, hard time, a deep, hard thing that he's having, the issue of praying to God, asking His help, trying to be close to Him, it's something that God is also hearing this voice. And this is what Jonah is praying and asking from God, give me another opportunity, and I will praise you in front of other people and everything else. So you can't, if I will conclude to this point, you can't, it is not possible to escape from the creator of this universe. And if you're trying to escape from one way, he will find you in another way. And even if you want to die, if he doesn't want you, so it won't happen. So this we really understand. The question that we stayed with, why this prophet Jonah is unwilling to fulfill his mission, and he's doing it, forced by God. Again, God is saying to Jonah, go to Nineveh. And Nineveh was a very big city. He was supposed to say those things for 3 days until it will start from the beginning of the city to the end of the city. And after first day already, when he spoke, when he said that in another 40 days, Nineveh is going to be turned over by God since your bad things. And by the way, you can learn about those bad things in the Nahum, in another small book, 2 or 3 books after this Jonah book. They did a lot of awful things, and it was enough that Jonah went there for 1 day, and everybody, including the king of this place and everybody else, they all decided to do a very deep repentance, to bring back everything they stole from others, to bring them back to the owners, and they did all sorts of things there to show how much they really want to withdraw back the bad things and to behave as everything is normal. And they said this sentence, who knows, maybe God, with a lot of mercy, this God, maybe he will decide not to do this to us. He won't kill us all. And this is what happened. God decided that they really did this repentance, they did all of this tshuva, therefore he decided not to do to them anything. And now we're coming to the 4th chapter, to the end of this story, and we're finding ourselves again with this big question of if I was Jonah, for example, And I would have seen that my mission that God asked me to do, to speak to everybody there in Nineveh, and that they will all return and start to behave much normal and much in a manner, better behavior. I would have asked myself, I would have felt, very satisfied with myself. I got a mission, and I managed to do it. But Jonah wasn't at all felt good with himself. And again, we're getting to this main question. Why didn't he want to do to fulfill his mission? Now, after God already decided that he will take all this repeatedness, all this tshuva that the Nineveh people did, it's written down that Jonah, this is the last chapter, was very upset. And he said, he prayed, please, oh my Lord, oh Lord, was this not my contention while I was still on my land? For this reason I had hastened to flee to Tarshish. This is why I wanted to run away to Tarshish. Because I knew that you gracious and merciful God, and you will forgive them for their things. And if until now we ask ourselves, why exactly Jonah didn't want to fulfill his mission, now we are even a bit more with surprise. Since the reason that we had prophets in this world was to bring us to the right way. And here it is. Jonah is managing to bring people from other nations, not from the Hebrew nation, to bring them to behave normal, exactly as they are supposed to behave. And he is upset for that. Well, what's happening here? Now, God is not answering him. The end of the story is that God is asking him, are you so upset? He said to him, yes, please take my life, I want to die. So God is saying to him, okay, sit down there, we'll see what's happening. And he's organizing outside this city some sort of a place that he can stay. And God is bringing there, a tree. And it's very nice for him. And in one day, this tree is dying with all sorts of worms and other things. And God, as usual, is bringing very low and quiet wind, where Jonah is feeling very hard and he's asking God, please take my life. God, please take my life. I want to die. And God, and this is how this book is finishing. God is saying to him, are you so sorry for this tree that vanished? Are you so sorry for this tree that vanished? And he's saying to him, yes, I want to die because I'm so suffering. And he said to him, God says to him, you're so upset for a tree that in one night happened, in one night is vanishing, and I won't have mercy to this great city Nineveh, that there are so many people there that alive, so many animals, so many things, and that's it. This is how the story is ending, but with a question between, or showing the difference between God and the prophecy, the prophet man. Even though he is a prophet, he is very close to God. At the end of the end, suddenly he was very in a personal issue, while he was in a personal issue, while God is God of the universe, not only of the Hebrew nation, and is from time to time also sending the Hebrew nation to all over the world, that to show them, to guide them the right way of working. So we are reading this story on the most holiest day to teach us that it's not only that we are doing this tshuva, that we are repairing our way and doing correctly those things that we are doing in our life because we want to be better. It's also our responsibility to all of the nations. And this is a story of the acceptance of this tshuva by God from others. But we are still with the main question. What exactly happened here? And why this prophet Jonah was so against this mission of bringing back those people from other nations so they will do the right things. For this we need to move on another step to our oral Bible. We got with the Bible, the oral Bible, to understand why Jonah was so against this mission.